Today's show is brought to you by Brautag.com. Brautag, the new Brautag premium brewing system, is a high-quality Herm system developed by yours truly to take your brewing to the next level. And by yours truly, I mean Todd and James. The Brautag consists of 3 premium stainless steel 20-gallon kettles, perfect for brewing 15-gallon batches, and each comes equipped with durable ball valves and easy-to-use stainless steel quick connects. The Brautag controller is an innovative, no-nonsense controller developed to make your brew day better. It's easy to understand, which makes it easier for you to fully control the brewing process. Dial in your temperatures with ease and control the entire process at the flick of a switch or the push of a button. The Brautag also comes with 2 premium centrifugal pumps and all the necessary cables conveniently labeled just for you. Go to Brautag.com and learn more about our special introductory offer, which includes $500 off MSRP, free shipping, and a ton of free add-ons, such as a 15-gallon recipe kit of your choice, 3 packs of liquid Imperial Yeast, a premium refractometer, pH meter and testing kit, a 1-year membership to Brewer's Friend Premium, Sandstep Sanitizer, Brew Clean, and more. Head over to Brautag.com to find a list of our retail partners and let us help make your brew day better.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
CM Becker Disconnect Maintenance, keg quality differences, weevils in my grains, and scaling recipes from small to bigger batches. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 240. Welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question that you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Steuben. Today I'm joined by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com down there, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President and Resident Chief Keg Washer of KegConnection.com. He is Mr. Todd Burns. Todd, have you always had that Brautag thing behind your head? The beer sign? Bar sign?
No. I put it up. I put them both up, so I had a Homebrew Happy Hour and Brautag.
I like it. You're surrounded.
And I have my hat, too. I don't...
I have my hat, too.
Oh, yeah. Look, there's a purple hat. Have you always had that, or...?
No, it used to be turquoise like 8 years ago. I mean, I had the turquoise version, and then it busted, and then I got this, and then they are discontinuing it, so I bought 4 replacement hats of it. So I've got 5 of these hats, because I don't remember if we've talked about this on the show. Todd texted my wife offering her financial gain if she would steal my hat and get rid of it. What you don't know about...
I'm going to have to pay more to get rid of all 5. I know that. I realize that.
What you don't know about my wife is she has a terrible poker face. I was at home when you texted her, and she's giggling, and I go, what are you giggling at? Is it your boyfriend texting you? And she,
she wants to get rid of those bad boys.
Yeah,
huh?
She doesn't complain as much as some people I know in my life. But I'm a man of comfort. I'm a man of habit. And you're right. Purple maybe is not the greatest fashion choice or whatever, but
at least it looks like, Todd. It looks like one of those cardboard caps you get at the fair.
It does. Oh, at least he's not wearing it backwards today, though. And all the buttons. I thought that went out like in the 80s or 90s, doesn't it? Or?
That's not nice.
I don't know. It just reminds me of them flat cardboard.
Some people in our Chub Club have these buttons. Look, these 2 are Chub Club buttons. The Homebrew Happy Hour logo, the Steuben's Brow House.
Hey, that's his flare.
Yeah, that's my flare.
Oh, your flare. I'm sorry.
I thought
you shouldn't make fun of a guy's flare.
I thought for work we had to have a mandatory number of flare. That's what I was told when I got hired on. At
if you feel 4 is the minimum. Then
if you feel 4 Was it Shenanigans? What was the name of the place? No, Tchotchkes, right?
Tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes. Yeah. Oh, Office Space is such a good movie. You know how many jokes Todd has made about fixing the glitch in reference to me?
No. We fixed the glitch.
No. We fixed the glitch.
No, we fixed the glitch. Anyway, that
sounds good to me.
I would love to do a whole podcast on movie and stuff, but some people get mad at me when this small talk is not related to brewing. So I'll bring us back in. Welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour, my friends. For the small talk, it's pretty brief this week. I'll start off with July recipe kits. They're going out on Monday. The yeast came in. We have the new strain of Bartleby from our friends at Imperial, as well as Flagship. The two recipe choices that you have, the Hop Fellas IPA, which is what's the Bartleby is included with, and then the American Amble Amber Ale, which is coming out with Flagship. So most people have already replied. I've got your orders in. Again, the yeast came in late this week, so we are waiting until Monday so that it's not sitting in a warehouse, because I promise you, in these temperatures, you don't want FedEx holding on to your package even a day more than they have to. So those are going out. You can go to homebrewhappyhour.com/club for more information, or directly still to patreon.com/homebrewhappyhour. Look at all the different tiers, and we appreciate our growing Shrub Club. It's really humbling when we see, when I log in any given morning, it's like, oh, you have a guy joining at this tier, or 3 people joining. And even the people who've had to leave, I feel so fortunate. They reach out to be like, I'm so sorry. It's just something, even like the ones that are like, I lost my job. I hope you understand. I'm like, oh my God, dude, we are not a priority.
That's cool.
We are not a priority in your life. You don't even have to tell me. You can leave and just give me the finger, and I'd be like, oh, well, thanks for being a part of it when you were. But
no, they need to get another job and join back up.
Oh, I didn't include it for this week, but we had a lot of feedback on our advice for the guy last week with his girlfriend who didn't like the smell of brewing.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I did include one of them on. I did include one of it on this week, and it was one of the more milder ones. But more or less, some people were telling me I shouldn't be a couples counselor ever, or telling us we shouldn't be a counselor.
I think I gave the guy really good advice. I don't know what he's talking about.
And y'all have credentials. Y'all both been married a couple times.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't have experience to give out advice.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
it's the couple times that probably wouldn't go good.
So what was the overwhelming response to it?
Oh, a lot of it was just like, how do you not like the smell of brewing? Like, that was the overwhelming response.
Meaning that they agreed with my evaluation.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course they did. Here, I'll get right to it, because I don't think we have a whole lot more small talk, except upcoming brew days. I always want to ask. I know, Todd, you last week were like, oh, I'm not brewing all these projects at home. They like double down on projects now because of some certain material that came in. Are you brewing ever in the near future? Because you've got a lot going on at your place.
I got to finish. We got to finish what we're working on, and then I'll start brewing again. It's I'm in the middle. I'm in the thick of projects. So yeah. One thing too, before we end the small talk, last night I had beer number 5, and now I've forgotten which hop that was, from when we did the tasting of the 7 different hops from Hang 'em High. And it was funny because I hadn't drank that one in a while, and I took a sip, and then I took another sip, and I was like, I immediately tasted peach. So it's funny how your taste, your perception of taste and hops can change, because I think I had really tasted melon in it when we did that. We haven't released that yet, have we?
No, I was going to say we had. I'll use that to segue to next week. We are publishing the video of us tasting the various pale ales with all those hops, because Todd, you have I forget the guy's name already. Oh, I hope he doesn't watch this episode, because I'm not going to edit this out. We are having the guy from Hang 'em High. He's going to be on the show next week. And my understanding too is we might phone in James from the beach.
Yep.
Okay, you're still down for that. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because I've
got the
Scott is his name.
Scott, thank you. I was just say Dan. It's not Dan. Sorry, Scott, that I was about to say Dan. But yeah, you at the beach, you just use your phone, man.
I've got the app installed. I did a meeting with Germany one week, and it worked great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because the following week I'm on vacation. We're pre-recording. I'm not doing it from the beach. You're a trooper. You're a good guy.
Hey, I'm going to be on the beach I got a little pop out beach tent for Emily and I, and she's bringing a friend of hers, so they're going to be playing in the water, and I get to watch them play in the water and drink beer.
You always stop. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tom.
The one that I was talking about, I pulled up my menu. That's so great. I can pull my beer menu up on my computer now. It's a Paradigm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I've got. It's gone crystal clear too. Mine's my favorite.
Mine's clear too, but I detected my dad picked all his fresh peaches, and I've been eating peaches, and then I tasted it, and I was like, I swear I'll taste peach in that. So try it tonight, James. It does say, now that I'm reading it, it does say stone fruit. Is peaches? Yeah, that's a stone.
Yeah,
fruit. Is that what that is?
Because of the pit. Yeah.
Yes, stone. Fruit.
As he's googling stone fruit, James, what beer are you taking? Because I know every year, you like last year, you had some good St. Arnold, and you usually get Texas beers. Do you have any in particular you're taking?
You know what? I'm going to get Versteiner Pils if I can find it. I know Comanche has it here. It's the best beer, guys. If you like a good German Pilsner beer, commercial beer that you can get here in the States, Versteiner Pils is really good.
The best. I remember.
And then I'll go by specs, before you get to the Causeway and load up on Texas beer. Usually I'll get Texas beer. Anything that's a lager or Pilsner,
I'm pretty sure CM had Versteiner on tap there at their headquarters in Krefeld, because I remember him. Well, first, he wasn't saying the best about the beer. He was saying it about the pouring. But he poured it, and he handed it to me. He goes, the best. When he gave me the beer. Every time I think of Versteiner, I think of CM telling me, the best.
The best.
And our factory does the beer tap towers for Versteiner.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, in fact, they did a W special. It's pretty cool. It's a big W, and they have taps coming out the front of it.
Their Dunkel is the best beer at Disney's Epcot. So I go to Germany all the time too, guys. I don't know. Y'all are going in August, so I might try to go too. In Germany and Florida, Todd. And their Dunkel, though, there is solid. Todd used to get so pissed on that. He'd be like, why don't you travel the world more? Todd, I travel the world twice a year, and I hit up the Netherlands, and I hit up Japan, and Mexico City, and China, and Italy. I'm not a world traveler. You don't need a passport either. But anyway, I won't continue to piss you off, Todd. Yes, so that video is publishing, and then next Thursday we'll be recording with Scott from Hang'em High Hops, which are those for sale already, Todd, on the website?
Yes, they should be. Yes.
Okay,
I believe. I may be lying.
So, when you watch the video, by the time you at least watch the video, we know for a fact they'll be up for sale. And we had a good experience with it, and I'm looking forward to hearing y'all's comments if you brew with them or what questions you might have for us after you watch the video. But anyways, that is all the small talk. Let me get into the listener feedback, and then we'll get into the show. It's time for listener feedback. This listener feedback came from our buddy Mike L., who emailed me and he said, hey, Joshua, I agree with y'all that the smells associated with homebrewing are incredible. Over the years I have been homebrewing, however, the smell is by far the most common complaint I have received. This is from my parents, wives, and my children. Notice I said wives because dating a new girlfriend probably won't solve the problem. I've tried. I've also tried to involve and include my wife in the process, but she isn't all that interested. Funny because she wants me to be involved and interested in all kinds of her nonsense. With all of this, along with the growing size of my equipment, has me relegated to brewing in the garage. My 13-year-old son, who is a high-functioning autistic with significant food aversions, says it smells like hot garbage, even when I do it outside. I have personally found that grain bills without large quantities of roasted type malts produce a smell that is easier for most to live with. So generally lighter colored beers. This doesn't sway me from brewing what I want, however, and anybody that complains about the wonderful smell is going to complain if the sun comes up tomorrow. So F them and feed them fish. Feed them.
There you go. Yeah, Mike.
That's what I like.
You know, Mike, families are way overrated. Way overrated. Yeah.
I want to be able to. I know he was saying it in jest about the wives part, but I kind of look forward to one day when I'm like, well, Like Stanley on The Office. Here's what I told my first wife. I said it to my second wife, and I'm going to say it to my next wife too. You know, get over it. Get over it. I know. Unfortunately, I can't relate. My wife doesn't have an issue. She doesn't like the taste of beer. But when we're brewing, I've never heard her complain about the smell. It just blows my mind, like we talked about last week, how people that worked for years at our headquarters, right around the corner from the brew room, had issues with the smell. Like they never adapted to it, I guess, right? It's just some people, different strokes, different folks.
Well, what's funny is we have a lister in the area, and he had sent his wife in to pick up some ingredients, and she noticed, or I showed her the Brautag system, and we happened to have some beer on the conical, and it was already brightened, and it was fairly green, but I asked her if she wanted to taste, and she said, yeah. And she said, no, yeah, it's fine. And he came in about a month later, and he said, yeah, she came home and was commenting about how excited you were about the beer, and she just doesn't like beer. And then he stopped and he said, now look, she just doesn't like beer. It wasn't that she didn't like your beer. She just doesn't like beer. But she was amused at how excited you were telling her about it.
Because it's exciting when people like beer. Like, even when they pretend. See, my wife just doesn't do good at pretending about liking beer. She pretends about a lot of stuff.
She was doing good because I had a clue. His name was Coy. So Coy, if you're listening, that was funny.
Yeah.
And his wife thought it was hilarious.
Oh, I know Coy. Yeah, he's real active too on our social stuff. Coy's great. I thought it was cool when we did Cole's Cup how many people were local enough. And by local enough in Texas, I mean we had people from San Antonio, couple hours bringing their beer in though, because they just like, hey, for the day I'll do a trip, and some of them stopped, and not Blanco, what's the Marble Falls, like some of them took the scenic route, getting there, came up, drop off their beer, made a day of it. I was like, that's cool how many local Texas people.
Yeah, we had one from San Antonio that dropped some off.
Yep, that was Wood.
He's the guy that gave us the cigars.
That's right. Oh, and they were good. Oh, they were good. And I've been spoiled with good cigars lately. But anyways, I do have 4 questions for us for this week. Let me get it started with the first question. It was a text message from our buddy Phil, who used our hotline at 325-305-6107. He says, "Hey Josh, ask James, what's the recommended maintenance for CMB distillants? I have a set of ball lock QDs, which is quick distillants, and I haven't done much beyond PBW soats. Should I fully disassemble and deep clean?" James, we know Todd in his beer lines is every 2 weeks, allegedly. Every 2 weeks. And there's a beer line cleaning kit for sale right now, or a sale on beer line cleaning kits. And someone messaged me, Todd, asking, is this Todd's conspiracy about getting everyone cleaning every 2 weeks? He's pushing these kits so that they'll clean. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Duh. He needs you clean. Our distillants maintenance, or even faucet maintenance too, how hyper attentive are you on the cleaning regimen or maintenance regimen, if there even is one?
I think if you're moving cleaner through the disconnect body, that's perfect. It is possible. You can take them apart and you can clean them thoroughly. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that when you put them back together, you put them back together correctly, and you put enough, you snug the lid, but don't over tighten it, because if you strip those threads, it's going to either blow beer or gas out the top. So just pass cleaner through it. It works fine. That's all we ever do. Yeah.
If you disassemble them, when those tiny little parts go down your sink drain, we do sell replacement parts. So
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. We got you covered when you miss those parts. No,
I'm curious, Josh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When is the last time you had disassembled and cleaned a disconnect?
13 years? I don't know. Did we ever have to disassemble them when I was doing the assembly?
Yeah, no, I don't disassemble them either. I'm guilty as
I was about to throw it back at you. I was going to say, well, when's the last time? But I didn't. In my head, as you were asking me that question, I was like, throw it back at him. But then I thought, don't, because knowing Todd, he's like, I do it every 7 weeks. It's actually on my calendar. It's part of my.
You can soak them.
Yeah, soaking out. I'll say I have soaked, and PBW is just a powdered cleanser, just like Brew Clean. That's what we use internally, and that's what Todd sells on homebrewsupply.com and kegconnection.com. Brew Clean's been, he had it literally made for brewing equipment to get like beer stone. It's highly effective in getting sediment, beer stone, all that stuff off your equipment. So a hot bath of Brew Clean will do the trick, I think.
You know what?
Just throw it in the keg, pump it through the disconnect.
Yep.
You should have asked me when the last time was, because I could tell you it was like last week when I was force carbonating those beers for the tasting, and I sucked all the yeast that had settled down off the bottom on one and clogged everything up. I had to take everything apart. So
did you really?
Yeah. I mean, we just let them sit in the really cold kegs. I mean, that one had probably been sitting for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and it was super clear once you got the about 16 ounces of pure yeast off the bottom. I'm exaggerating, but there was a lot of yeast in that first pour. It clogged everything up. Yeah.
I know. I mean, obviously, like the top of CMB disconnects and all the knockoffs that are on the market, they're made for a screwdriver, right? Like it's obviously that you can.
Yeah, it's a flathead hole.
Right, exactly. So. But I will give caution, like Todd said, and what James said. Pardon me. You got to put it back the exact right way, or you're gonna have a bad time. And that's with any disconnect, or that's with any faucet disconnect, any dispensing part.
Yeah, and our assembly team, the tools that they use, they're calibrated for that lid. So they stop at the right torque setting. But I mean, if you snug them, you're fine. You can take them apart. You can buy replacement parts. It's not really needed. You can soak them and then flush them. Works fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was going to wrap it up. I was say soak them, flush them. Life will be fine. I don't recall, you guys have been actually formally trained in draft school, right? Now I know it was mainly for commercial stuff, but even with commercial couplers, Todd, is there some cleaning regimen that they say like, oh yeah, you've got to, because those aren't disassembled, right? Like couplers.
No. I mean, it's just like a disconnect. A coupler just basically is a hole that it passes through. So, I mean, when you're cleaning your beer lines, you're cleaning your coupler because you're cleaning all the parts that touch the beer. And that's true with, a lot of people take their kegs apart. I don't ever take my kegs apart. I mean, when I'm cleaning a keg, it's passing through the dip tube. It's passing through the post where, where everything was. So, it's cleaning everything that touches the beer if you're cleaning your beer lines with a keg. So,
right.
You know.
And that's that. Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. So yeah, Phil, to wrap it up,
no, you don't need to clean them.
Your soaking in the PBW has probably kept you fine. And he didn't include this, and I didn't follow up. If you're getting like off taste or some weird things going on, soak it in the PBW or in the Brew Clean, flush it like James said, and it should probably be good enough. If not, disassemble when need be. We're just saying it's not like once a year, do it, guys. Or
one thing I would mention is if you've got some kind of special type beer that might, especially if any fruit additions or anything like that can permeate the hose. Those are kind of hard to get, kind of like root beer in the day. You had root beer in a line, you tasted root beer Coke, root beer Dr. Pepper. Line's cheap. So if you still taste residual and you've cleaned it and flushed it and all that, sometimes you just need to replace the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
The disconnect won't permeate.
It won't permeate the disconnect. Exactly. And that's always been my excuse, just to change line anyway. When I upgraded my Pops towers, I was like, instead of cleaning, we're just getting new towers. Now I can't do new towers every time we got to clean, but replacing lines pretty easy. But that's a whole different thing.
And economical. I know that it's gone up a little bit because of supply concerns, but still, it's. I would much rather do that than.
Yep. So
try to save an old line.
Exactly. So Phil, what you're doing is good. Go to homebrewsupply.com, type in Brew Clean, order you a 50-pound pail, and it'll last you a while. And then you can thank us, right, Todd?
Absolutely.
So thank you, Phil.
Thank you in advance, in fact.
Yeah, thank you for. Hey, you know what's funny? Someone asked me about the 50-pound pail. They're like, "Does that qualify for the $9.95 shipping?" I said, "Yeah, unless Todd tells you anything different, I'm pretty confident it qualifies for flat rate shipping."
We're probably losing money on that.
So
Yeah.
if I need to cut that out, let me know. But anyways, Phil, thank you so much for submitting your question. This is a great time to remind you, if and when we take your question on a future episode, we do give you a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com, courtesy of Mr. Todd Burns. Thank you, sir. Moving on to question number 2 comes from our buddy John, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. John wrote, "You have a video on your channel that explains keg grades. What grade of kegs do you actually use in your kegerator? Are the B grade kegs okay to use, or is it worth the money for standard grade or even new kegs?" John, I only use the newest of new. I don't put myself down to a pleb level. No, I use whatever I can get. We all, Todd has more B grade kegs in his cheeser than probably anybody. Todd and James are not snobs, and neither am I, because I can't afford to be. But James, do you have a preference on the grade?
No, absolutely not. If it's clean on the inside and it holds a seal, perfect for me.
Yeah, and the other thing too, a lot of people freak out if there's some staining on the inside. I mean, some of those kegs have been used for 30, 40 years. I mean, if you can't get it off with a stainless steel brush, it's not coming off in your beer. You know, I mean, I mean, I'm not super picky. I just clean my kegs really well, and I keep them clean during the process. But I'm not picky at all I don't care about dings and dents and, handles halfway coming off. It's not something that, I mean, if you saw my Keezer, the inside of my Keezer, you know what I'm talking about. So
I do know this though.
His Keezer's nice.
His Keezer's super nice. I will say this though. I did notice.
No, I'm just talking about the kegs in it.
Oh no, but I'll just say though, I did notice, because used to, when you were just using that tower kegerator, you didn't care if they had handles or not. I did notice now you care if they at least have one handle to pick it up because of the lifting that's involved in the Keezer. Like that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's your only difference, because on the last one, I remember there being ones like, "Todd, that keg's leaning against the wall. Yeah, it has no bottom or top."
Well, I mean, I like to send those really nice ones to customers.
Yeah, I know.
There you go. Yeah, that's the sacrifice we take.
But I will say, Todd, this is more geared for you. As more people are brewing, these kegs, like you said, they're the used ones that were in the soda industry. They're 40 plus years old, some of them. So the scarcity is here, right? The last couple of years, we've been saying like, oh, used kegs are getting scarce. So that's kind of driving those prices up on those, while new kegs are kind of almost meeting them on the way.
Yeah.
In 2021, would you say, like right now on Keg Connection, you can get them for $80 for a new keg with a single handle, the metal single handle.
Yeah.
Would you say then at that point, is it worth the extra $12-15?
Oh yeah. I mean, if I was buying a keg, I mean, I should preface the fact that I use pretty much any keg by saying that I have like 1,000 kegs to choose from at any given moment, you know? I mean, and if one of my kegs stops working, I have 999 kegs to choose from. So, if I was buying a keg right now, I would probably buy a new keg, because I would buy a new one and I'd keep it forever. And, keep in mind, if you buy a keg, say that's, $89.95 and it's new, you can get 40 or 50 years out of it. And for me, that's going to take me out. So I'm, that's,
yeah. I'll just say, for you and your genetics, you might have 40 or 50 years, because you're only 52.
Yeah, or 5. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say my genetics at 35, a new keg, that'll last my kid's lifetime. Like it'll get a stubing through. I can tell you that. But I just wonder, because I know do you remember the first Black Friday we ever did was like 2012, and or it might have been 2011. And we were selling a racetrack keg, I think, for $15 and free shipping.
That's crazy.
Oh, and we sold like 600 of them, and we had like 50 of them ready. So it took us like 2 weeks to get them all out. We were emailing people.
We were.
And it was terrible.
I was a college age kid, me and the other college age kids. So actually this was before 2011, because this was when we were still in San Marcos. So it had to have been 2010 or 2009. And
then people would email us and say, hey, I took these apart and the little plastic thing that holds the spring up, it's stained.
Yeah, they would. They would. But dude, like it's not like you said though. This keg's however many years old. It's not gonna get in your beer, and you paid $15 total for it, man. Like, I got a great compliment from one of the moderators on Reddit. Actually, he's a good dude, and he Chino Brews, I think, is his actual username. But he buys kegs from us, and he said because we're the only ones that clean them. That really go the thorough testing of them, and the cleaning is big because we're friends with everybody in the industry, but a lot of them they don't necessarily disclose like how gross a keg can be if it doesn't get cleaned, right? I can just leave it at that. But like if a keg's not cleaned, if it's just dumped, then when you receive it, you might be a little bit more disappointed. But
I mean, I've actually discarded kegs that technically you could get clean if you've used cleaning solution and soaked them and went through the whole cleaning process. I'm sure they'd be absolutely fine. But when you pour it out and the rat comes out,
the carcass or the two
carcass
carcasses
of the rotting rat comes out, I just have to get rid of that.
I saw some nasty stuff in my short tenure as a keg washer. It was not enjoyable.
Yeah, you want to clean them good when they come from the soda plant. Yeah.
And I don't know.
The scary part of that, let me finish, is that had soda in it, and a lot of it was gone.
You're right. Like it's still like, how did that rat get in there when there's still soda left? Yeah, they don't check. They didn't check them in those cold rooms at McDonald's. I made a joke to someone who said they've been a longtime customer of ours and always buy their kegs from us. It wasn't the same person, but I was like, "What years were you buying them?" Because I was washing them then, and to the effect of basically, "I'm sorry for any kegs you received in 2008 to 2010, and every keg afterwards, though, has probably been way better, more thoroughly cleaned."
You did not wash kegs for 2 years.
I sort of did.
You washed like 20 kegs before you weaseled your way out of it.
Okay, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. I will say when John emailed me that, I went and looked. That is also a video, guys, that's getting a lot of views, and it made me want to preface on the podcast, keg grading is unique to the retailer. Joe is in that video, and we actually did one too with James explaining the differences between the types of kegs. But we're very clear that these are how Keg Connection grades a keg. If you take that same grading system and try to apply to another retailer, don't be upset at them, or don't be upset at us in our video if it doesn't line up one for one. The video is specific, like Joe says in it, to Keg Connection products. So like if you go on kegconnection.com or homebrewsupply.com, you can expect these out of the kegs like he described them. Don't try to take that to any other retail. There is no, I would love to start the Keg Grading Union of America Association for keggers, or whatever I could come up with for the name, the Super Duper Keg Grading Club. But there is no industry standard for keg grades. You just need to read thoroughly from the retailer you're buying from to make sure you understand what you're getting. So, Todd, you were about to say something?
Oh no! I'm just laughing to myself at your keg grading certification. For only $199.95, you too can become an official kegs grader.
Absolutely. My beer judging career is probably dead, so I need to move on and go to keg judging. But anyways, John, I think that wraps up this question. So John, thank you so much for submitting the question. Moving on to our third question, another text message from our buddy Michael, who used 325-305-6107. And he wrote, "I received grains from an online shop and the bag had a weevil in it. Still good to use? Are weevils a sign of old or bad grains? It wasn't from you guys, so don't worry." Michael, I am worried. Why wasn't it from us, guys? No. You should have bought it from us, and then
we would have sent you weevils.
We would have sent you weevils too.
No extra charge.
James has brewed weevilled grain, so I'm going to throw it to you first. Again, James, do weevils mean bad grains?
Not necessarily. In fact, I would be hard pressed to say there's probably every grain manufacturer or grain company that doesn't have that kind of issue. What I would do, and what I have done in the past, is most grain bags have a plastic inner liner and they have a woven kind of poly outer liner or paper outer liner. You'll usually see the weevils, if they're there, they're trying to get in through the plastic liner between the sewing. And sometimes they'll get in, sometimes they won't. But take a sample, open the bag, blow it off, get them all away and open the bag up and take a sample and look at it real close. If it's really infested, you'll have weevils all over your hand. If you don't, look at the kernels for any burrowing or any holes. And that's your judgment. But I've had some that we were told, don't do whatever you want to, but get them out of your building, dump them, give them to livestock, but we're sending you, we don't want them back. Case in point, I had some Vienna malt, some Munich malt, and I had some Pilsen malt. So I grabbed a bag of each, took them home, and literally sifted through a whole bag of Pilsen malt, and I couldn't find any. I mean, if I did, I found just several, like a handful, and filtered the whole thing, put it back into the bag, cleaned the bag, put it in a freezer, and I made beer with that for 2 years.
My understanding,
really came out
I was
fine.
gonna say, my understanding that Monster Ale you brewed and gave me a keg of 2 years ago was from weevilled grain. Like it was from grain that you had sifted through, made sure it was going to be fine. And it was like my uncle still talks about what you called your Monster Ale or your Franken
it was
Ale.
a high octane stuff.
High octane. Yeah, Uncle Mike would enjoyed it. But yeah. I'm not up there at HQ enough to be in the know. Like James said, Todd, weevils is hard. Like he said, I mean, they're not always expected to be present, but they're also not like a shocking thing where you go, it's not like a bed bug, right? Where, there's a weevil, close down shop, fumigate. Like weevils are manageable if you happen to have a weevil in your grains, correct?
Yeah, but I haven't seen grain in a long time that had a weevil in it. I mean, we definitely do not want weevils here because weevils multiply. And if we got grain in that had weevils in it, we would get rid of it immediately and give it to James, of course. And and
I don't mind sifting through it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, hell, I would probably if I saw a weevil and it wasn't just crawling with weevils, I'd probably just run it through the crusher and have a little weevil on my beer. So, well,
like you just said, James, and specifically for Michael's question, he found a weevil in his grains. If that weevil didn't hollow through all the grains, because that's what matters, right? Is them burrowing and ruining. They're basically already cracking. Or not? Well, I don't want to.
What they do is they'll burrow down into the endosperm inside the grain, and that's what they eat. So you have a piece of grain with nothing in the center for the most part. So it's like eating the inside of an apple with the shell still there. That's kind of what they do.
Yeah, if you don't want to eat any, if you don't want anything that has bugs in it, and probably some feces, bug feces, mouse feces, I would tell you don't brew beer, don't eat bread, don't eat cereal. Whoa!
You're telling my cereal that I literally just plowed 10 minutes before we got on the show, mini wheats, I ate bug feces?
Oh, yeah.
The FDA takes account in a certain amount of protein and grains and packaged food.
Really?
They do.
Real interesting. I need to look more in. It doesn't actually bother me. I mean, I'm not all like what's the new conspiracy theory? The global elite are trying to get us to all eat bugs and give up meat. No, I'm not that level of like scared of bug eating. I'll eat some bugs, whatever. Doesn't bother me. I'm not like Thailand market bug eating.
Here it is right here. I just Googled it. That was actually pretty easy. For every quarter cup of cornmeal, the FDA allows an average of 1 or more whole insects, 2 or more rodent hairs, 50 or more insect fragments, and 1 or more rodent dung.
Oh, rodent dung. So I've had some rodent dung with my milk.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Frosted Flakes, that's cornmeal, right? I mean, I've had some rodent dung.
Yeah.
All right. I've made it this. Maybe that's why I haven't been sick in 4 years, coming up on 4 years. I haven't been sick. Isn't that wild? It's all that rodent dung. It's built up my immunity. See, breakfast cereal and beer, kids. That's how you stay healthy. But if you're a kid, why are you watching the show? It's not for you. Don't watch this talking about booze and cigars and other inappropriate things. But yeah, Michael. So let's wrap up Michael's question and reassuring him that it's not necessarily a sign of bad or old grains. But what should he do with that bad, James, to like wrap it up?
Brew beer.
I love it. Yes. Yeah. Brew beer. Well, how fast will he know if the beer, I mean, he would know, I think by looking at it, you would know it was bad, right? I mean,
yeah, you just scoop your hand down into it and just kind of spread it out and look down on the grains. If you see a lot of holes in several of them, then I probably wouldn't use them. But if you don't see that, you're fine.
Yeah. He should be good. All right.
Yeah.
We do have one last question for this week. Came from our buddy Rob, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Rob wrote, Homebrew Happy Hour is the best. He knows how to get on the show. The podcast really has helped my brewing, and it feels like I'm hanging out with good friends every podcast. That's what we're going for, Rob. We appreciate that. Thank you for everything. My question is about scaling recipes. Right now, I'm making 5-gallon batches in an all-in-one. When I eventually move up to larger batches, will I only need to times my 5 gallons recipe by 2 or 3, depending on if I do 10 or 15-gallon batches? The simpleton in me thinks it's that easy, but I don't want to assume it's that easy. My plan is to brew 15-gallon batches at some point next year when I can afford to upgrade, and I'd like to brew my favorite 5-gallon recipes, but in 15-gallon batches. Thanks for your help, Rob. The Simpleton in Me, which is the title of my memoir coming up, does say that's what it's a good title for my book, don't you think?
I love it.
I'm going to read the audiobook version too, but very slowly. I think it would just be multiplying it, right? But Todd knows I am terrible at math. Is it just as easy as multiplying?
Yeah, well, it's a trick question because yes, it is just multiplying it, but I can never just multiply it because what happens is when you brew 5 gallons, you don't quite get 5 gallons of beer, but when you brew 15 gallons and you're using a larger system, you lose some at the bottom and you lose some when you ferment. And so I always brew like 17 gallons because then I get 5 full kegs of beer.
Yeah.
And then you get into much harder math. So Josh, I would say you should probably just stick with the 15-gallon batches. But a lot of people may want to, or, brew 17 and a half. So that way you can do 3
You're so
and
rude.
a half times.
Joke's on you. I can use stuff like our friends at Brewer's Friend. I can use their calculator and it'll give me all the numbers.
Okay. You're right.
That was going to be my suggestion to Rob.
Y'all stole my thunder. I was just sitting here waiting.
Go for it, James. I'll stop.
There's a scale option in your Brewer's Friend. Plug the original recipe and scale it to where you want, the efficiency you want. It'll convert everything you need.
And that's a free version too. You don't have to be a premium member to get that, I don't believe. We are premium members, so maybe I might have to backtrack that. Sorry, Lorena, if I said that wrong. People will, I promise you, when I'm wrong, especially now that our audience is a lot larger than it was 5 years ago, I know I get told when I'm wrong, not just from Todd anymore. It's from everybody. It's from 10 Todds and 150 Carls and 13 Lewises, and everybody in the country lets me know I'm wrong. But that was going to be my suggestion.
Thank you all for doing that, by the way. We appreciate it.
You're doing a real service on behalf of Todd Burns. I'm not convinced they're not all fake emails that you've done just to give me crap, to say the things that you're afraid to tell me because I'll quit or something. It's harsh sometimes. No, my suggestion was totally going to steal your thunder, James, because I was going to say, while the math can be hard, I don't ever do math. If I'm really going to scale, I would use my Brewer's Friend account. It's just like, when I was in high school, we were on the precipice of technology where we also had TI-84 calculators. And my calculus teacher would say, well, Joshua, you're not always going to have a calculator on your hand, are you? Idiot. I do. I've got a supercomputer in my pocket and literally one on my wrist at all times. We got supercomputers, man.
Well, when I was in high school, if you had a calculator, you were cheating.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Well,
they were not allowed in class.
No.
Yeah. And I get the principle of that. Like, we want people to be able to do we though? With technology, do we have to know how to do math? Okay.
Well, before we leave this question, I will say this. I mean, and somebody may correct me, and I hope they do if I'm wrong. But for the most part, you just multiply it by what you're doing. So if you're brewing a 5-gallon batch, and you want to do a 10-gallon, it's times 2, and if you want to do a 15-gallon, it's times 3. I've never added additional grain if I was actually, or any additional anything if I was actually just doubling or tripling a recipe. James?
Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah,
okay.
if I'm targeting a 15-gallon batch, I'll just I'll just be lazy and do the 5 gallon times 3.
Right.
Or a 10 gallon. We did the Cooler Brew video. We used that ESB kit times 2. We just went and Joe packed us 2 kits.
And that's what Joe does. We have Trub Club tiers where we have guys at the highest right now that we have signed up for. We don't have a 15 gallon guy anymore. He's one of the, unfortunately, who lost his job, but we have a bunch of 10 gallons, and that's what Joe does for them. He literally just bags up 2 5-gallon kits and sends it out to them. And that's what we've always done as well at home on the Cooler Brew with me and my pop. And that's what we did for I think you actually, those pale ale recipes that Lorena did, she made them for 15, right? Or did you have to scale those, James? I forget.
She did a basic 5 gallon.
Okay. So you did
we scaled them up.
Yeah. Using
I don't ever make 2 kits. I just do the 15 gallon ingredients in one bag.
What does you go up there and do it? I'm saying if I ask Joe, hey man, me and my dad are going to brew a 10 gallon. Usually he has Araceli or himself make that recipe kit times 2 because I think it's easier.
Really?
I think it's easier for inventory. Honestly, is why I think he does it because it's easier on inventory when the build for a 5 gallon will take it all out appropriately. So he just times that by 2 as opposed to going in and adding the exact amount of grains or whatever. It's already in the build of material for a recipe kit is what I'm getting at.
You're talking about the paperwork, not the actual.
Yeah.
He doesn't do 2 kits that have the grains separately. Okay.
No, that is what I was talking about. Or I mean, not separately. He
does both.
Correct. He does both, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Interesting.
Yeah, but anyways, for you, Rob, back to my whole mantra of it's the best time ever to be alive. You've got a lot of tools to help you, not just our podcast. Brewer's Friend is our go-to for brewing software. And like James said, they have a scaling function to where if you were doing what Todd does and like, hey, I want to yield 17 gallons, it tells you exactly how much of each grain you need, exactly how many ounces of hops you're going to need. And you can even have it, build your water profile while you're on there. I mean, do whatever you want. Brewers Friends.
There's lots of calculators, lots of tools on Brewers Friends. It'd be hard for me to brew because we do a lot of custom recipes, scaling. You can also go down. So if you've got a 15 gallon batch, you can scale it down to 5. You can go up or down with that. It's the water calculators. You can adjust your efficiency and you can really dial a system in. And that's what we do, and that's the way we utilize our Brewers Friend software. I love it. Exactly. Can't imagine brewing without it. It's
extremely robust, and you'd think they'd pay us to say that, but they don't. They do partner with us a bunch. Like, I was going to segue. Let me put on my salesman cap real quick, because Rob says, my plan is to brew 15-gallon batches at some point next year when I can afford to upgrade. Well, Rob, go to catconnection.com, add a Brautag to your cart, and you can finance up to 36 months on qualifying purchases through Klarna, starting at, I guess I'd be like $100 a month. I'm bad at math. Don't get me doing math, but financing is available now, so you can afford it now, Rob. People are going to tell me I'm not a financial advisor now. I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a financial advisor, but you can actually, if you're going to do 15-gallon batches, obviously we're biased. We think you should hop on the Brautag train and then, take plenty of photos and hashtag Brautag or hashtag Brew Day for us so we can see it. But I forgot to mention that at the top, Todd, that financing is working on the site. You let me forget to say that.
Oh yeah. So it's not telling you about it until you get to the very end of the cart, but it's an option at the end, right?
Right. Yes. They're able to check out now through and apply for financing. I think the minimum on the site that Klarna sets up is $250 for their financing, not just their like payments and or whatever. It's an amount, either $150 or $250, but the Brautag clears that, I assure you. And
when do you think the rest of that will be done?
Oh man, that's about time to wrap up the show. No, I don't know. We're working with the developers there. Of all the things that are my fault, this is on the bottom of the my fault paper. There's like 130 other things above it.
But you told me I needed to be the squeaky wheel, so I'm just trying to be
No,
the
you told me I've been the squeaky wheel with the developer. You told me to be the because Todd always does good cop, bad cop, James. I'm sure you know that. And he always accuses me of being too passive when he's like, hey, what's the progress on this? I'm like, I'm waiting on Stefan to send me the translations for Sam Becker products. And he's like, well, have you emailed him today? Well, I talked to him yesterday, but have you emailed him today? I guess I haven't. And so then Todd will remind me what a squeaky wheel looks like, and he'll email me 10 times in a day. Hey, is that thing done yet? Hey, is that thing done yet? Hey, is that thing done yet? So you're right, Todd. It's effective. It's very effective. I need
just a little follow up.
Just a little follow up.
Just following up, man. Just following up.
I'm changing the subject back to Rob's question to wrap it up. I also, Rob, have ambitions of brewing 15-gallon batches. I did get bit by the Herms bug, after brewing on that system. I can't just show up to my pop's place with the system because we have to actually make room. That's one of the few things that I can't just show up with. I know I could show up with the conical and we'd make it work, but we actually have to plan this out. But my plan is for 2022 to be brewing on Herms.
You know, Josh, there's financing available for that now.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know because it's not readily showing me on the site. Someone didn't finish. They didn't finish setting that up.
I'll follow up on that after the podcast.
Crap. Anyways, that does it for this.
He will.
Yeah, I know he will. That's the problem. That does it for this week's episode, guys. James, I hope sincerely that you have you deserve a vacation, my friend. And
yes.
if you change your mind about not wanting to do a segment on Next Week's show, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want you to enjoy your vacation and not.
Oh no, I'll be here.
Okay,
yep.
I know you.
We want to make.
You may have to text me and remind me, but I'll be here.
You are not allowed on the podcast next week if you're not on the beach with a beer in your hand. That's
okay.
Oh, that's not a problem. Yeah. I'm good at that.
No sobriety. All right.
That's my pleasure.
That's my pleasure. Thank you guys so much, and I will
Thank you.
I'll see y'all next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question that you would like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. If you're wanting to take your brewing to the next level, go check out the sweet new Herm system available now at Brautag.com, Brautag, or go directly to techconnection.com/Brautag and take advantage of the incredible introductory offer going on for a limited time. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.